I'm Dr. Hester Barron, and I'm a lecturer in history at the University of Sussex. And I work on British social history in the first half of the 20th century. This is a topic I'm particularly interested in, and I've got a book coming out next year on the effects of the 1926 miners' strike on the mining communities of the northeast of England. But I'm not going to be talking about the miners' strike as such today, but specifically the general strike with which it began in May 1926. And the question I'm going to be looking at is, why did the general strike not succeed? When the general strike ended on the 12th of May 1926, the scale of the working class response had been a spectacular one. The strikers estimated that 2 million men had taken part. The government said about 1.5 million. The real figure is probably somewhere in between. Even then, that excludes the million miners who were also on strike or locked out. And because of the trade union congresses, the TUC's policy of bringing out the strikers in staggered waves, even more would have been called out if the strike had lasted longer. In a little book written following the end of the general strike, A.J. Cook, Arthur Cook, the miners' leader, spoke of what he called the 9 days' wonder. What a wonderful response, he wrote. What loyalty, what solidarity. From John O'Groats to Land's End, the workers answered the call to arms to defend us, to defend the brave miner in his fight for a living wage. So, with such apparent support then, why did the general strike not succeed? In his book, A.J. Cook went on to explain why he thought it had failed. Why was the strike called off, he asked. And he placed the blame squarely on what he described as the treachery and the betrayals of some individuals, by which he meant the leaders of the TUC General Council. It seemed, he said, that the only desire of some leaders was to call off the general strike at any cost, without any guarantees for the workers, miners, or others. In this lecture, I'm going to first of all explore this charge, which became a lasting charge on the left of the political spectrum, that the leaders of the General Council were the reason that the general strike came to such an unsatisfactory end for the strikers. Secondly, I'm going to look at the government position and consider the fact that this was a strike that perhaps could never have been won, even with a different trade union leadership. And I'm going to go into some detail there regarding the support that the government retained from a large section of the population. And then finally, thirdly, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the aims of the strikers actually were and how much of a failure it actually was.